Now the Jimny has been stealing all the headlines as far as Suzuki is concerned recently, and that's not surprising. It's a really funky and cool looking car, and you know what, it's a bit of a laugh to drive. I drove it recently, but we should not be forgetting about the Suzuki Vitara. Now this car has been around since around 2015, and they quietly gave it a facelift for model year 19. It got some changes at the front here and a much nicer interior, which we'll get to in a minute. It also dropped the diesel engines, shock horror, and it's now only got 2 petrol variants. Now you may be thinking that's a bit of foresight on Suzuki's part, and maybe a sign of the time of what's coming. So anyway, now you have a 1.4 litre engine, or this 1 litre boost jet engine. Now this boost jet engine gives you 109 brake horsepower, 170 newton meters, 125 pounds-foot of torque. And you may think, well, that's not enough in a car of this size. Well, this car actually weighs less than 1,200 kilograms and is capable of 0 to 60 miles per hour, 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in about 11 seconds. Now prices for these start from £16,000 up to about £25,000. This one is about 19, and this particular one's got a couple of options, the metallic paint and the two-tone paint, well worth getting. The car looks fantastic. I really like the way it looks. It's a handsome car, particularly in the two-tone setup. It's also a good size for around town for family use and very practical. How practical? Well, you know what? Let's, as usual, go and check out the boot. Now the boot doesn't have a fancy opening mechanism. I don't have to kick anything to do it, and there isn't even anything on the key to do it. No, you just reach under here, under the tailgate, click on the little lever, and up it goes. Now you've got 375 litres worth of luggage space back here, which you can extend and get up to 710 if you drop all the seats. Like you can see, I've just dropped one of the seats there just to give you an idea of, it doesn't go all the way flat, but it gives you a fair amount of room. Now you may be thinking, well, that's a bit of a high floor, and actually it's lined up with a lip here, so as soon as you get stuff over, you can get it onto the floor. But if you did need a little bit more height, you can actually one interesting thing is that it actually stays like that, and there's a little cavity under there, so you can actually hide stuff. Or if you just do that and do that, you've got a lower floor. And in addition to that, if you want to, you've got a little bit more space where the spare tire would have been. Now they have a tire repair kit, but there's a few little cavities and stuff down there where you can hide things. Now what else have we got here? We've got a little cubby box there and a hook over there. We've actually got a power supply back here, look. There you go, there's a power supply and a light and another cubby box. So that's about it. How about the interior rear passenger compartment? Do I fit in there? Let me go and check that out. So here we are in the back of the car. Now this driver's seat is obviously set for my height. I'm 6'2", so quite on the tall side. So actually, with that in mind, it's not too bad. It's quite soft in here, so plenty of room for my knees, as you can see. And plenty of room down there for my feet as well. Actually quite a substantial amount of room for my feet, and also decent headroom as well, not an issue at all. Over here you have a bottle holder. Actually I would say a bottle holder because it's quite big there, and that's it, nothing else really. In fact, I don't even get a pocket on this side. There's only one pocket and it's on this side. Interesting that, isn't it? No armrests, of course, nothing that comes down. The headrests are adjustable, so they go up and down, and of course you do get child seat isofix anchor points and stuff like that. But really it's about the fact that it's spacious, it's comfortable. There is the quarter light in the rear, so it gives you a little bit more light in here, but otherwise that's pretty much it. Time to get in the front. So here we are in the front. Here's the key. Now no starter button, just start it up. Let me show you when it starts up. You get a nice little S there. Now this thing here, this is brand new. This wasn't on the car that I drove previously. Remember, that was a Middle East spec car. And in this you get quite a few things. So you get miles per gallon. If I press this lever here, I can scroll through it. So you get quite a few different settings, including like a G meter thing, and power and torque curves, and brake. I've got my foot on the brake, so there you go. So yeah, quite a few details. That's quite interesting. And over here you've got traction off, stop start. There's a very deep box down there for coins and stuff, I suppose. Over here you've got 2 cup holders, cubby box in there, 5-speed manual, proper handbrake by the way. So there you go. And then 2 levels. So there's this level and this level, so you can put phones there, and then 1 USB there, and plus a power supply. You can put an adapter in there and get some more USBs. I think that's the only way. Climate control works really well. Been very comfortable. Just set it and forget about it. Really good. And up here, this is blanked out, but again, in the other car that I tried, it was actually a clock in the middle there. Now this is new. This is the new center monitored full digital color. It's the same one that they've now got in the Suzuki Jimny. Very handy, and I've been using it. It's got DAB radio and 4-speaker, but actually sounds really good. I'm actually very impressed with that. And it's got full connectivity, so you got Android Android Auto, CarPlay, and in the CarPlay you can get Waze and Google Maps on here. I've used it on here, and actually it works really, really well. Or it has its own sat nav also. So that's pretty straightforward. The volume control is there. On the steering you get another remote for the volume control there. Over here you get cruise control, that works quite well, and then some sound voice control buttons down there as well. So pretty straightforward. You know, and really the thing to do is to take it for a drive and see how it feels on the go. So here we go, giving it some beans in first gear. Now this is the thing, it may only be like a 1-liter engine. You're thinking, that's not a lot, is it? But and in fact, on paper, 0 to 60 in 11 seconds, 111 miles an hour. Yeah, it's not a lot, but actually in the real world, when you're actually driving it around and in terms of how it feels and everyday performance, it's actually plentiful. And it feels quite light on its feet, you know. So plus, that engine makes rather a nice noise, doesn't it? It's got a nice sort of thrummy, raughty almost sound to it. And you actually get quite some pleasure out of using this transmission. I got to say, really nice shifts, really precise, really, you know, easy to get into where you want it to go, like downshifting, no problem at all. You can just about heel and toe as well. Clutch is nice and light with a good biting point, and it's one of those cars that actually you may be put off by driving a manual, but even in parking or in traffic, it's actually no chore at all. It's actually all very, very easy to use, very straightforward. And I've been driving this car for pretty much a week now, and it does actually, that little engine does sound really good. And I've driven it in city like this, I've driven it in traffic, and I've driven it on B roads, and I've driven it on motorways in the absolute pouring rain, and it's been absolutely fantastic in all of those circumstances. But what's more, like just checking it around here, the steering response and the steering accuracy is something that you'd expect in something a little bit more sportier, let's be honest. It's actually quite surprising how responsive and how, almost dare I say, engaging the car actually is. It's actually a real pleasure to drive. And it does that thing where around town it's fine, on motorways it will just cruise, you can set on cruise control, and you know, it will do absolutely fine. And you know, it's showing 43.9 miles per gallon. I think 46 miles per gallon is the official figure. I've seen 48, 49 almost. So on the motorway, on the longer run, so actually it's really thrifty. So yeah, you don't need the diesels anyway, as long as you're sensible driving it around, and it gives you a little meter there that shows you how much throttle you're using and stuff, so you can be very careful about it. But again, brakes, very smooth, no issues whatsoever, and quite bitey when you need them to be. It's a very well sorted car. The ride too, maybe a little bit brittle on surface like this, but on the motorway it's absolutely fine. And it's not too bouncy, it's not too soft, but at the same time it's not too firm. So they've judged it really well. And judged is a really good word to use for this car. It's a very well judged car, in the sense that it is very user friendly. It is very easy for anyone to get into drive, and yet somehow they've introduced an element of excitement to it. They've introduced an element of fun to it. And you know what? I've got to really, you know, doff my cap to Suzuki for being able to do that on a car that really I wasn't expecting much of. I know I've driven it before, and in fact, even at that time, it was a different engine and an automatic, and even that time, I was actually left quite impressed with the car. And now, having driven this new engine with this gearbox, which actually, let's be honest, is ups the fun quotient quite a bit, I've got to say, I've really enjoyed my time with this car, and I'm actually quite sad about it going back tomorrow. So that's actually a massive thumbs up and a great achievement by Suzuki. Do I recommend the car? Yeah, totally. At this money, at this value, get this spec car with all of this stuff on it? Yeah, definitely. It's a really good car. In fact, I might even be considering one myself. So there you go. There's the review of the Suzuki Vitara 1 liter. Hope you enjoyed that. Do let us know what you thought of the review, me, car, anything you like. And don't forget to follow. #BrownCarGuy. Very easy. Go check me out. See you there, and see you the next one.